Let's take a listen at what Jimmy Kimmel is saying here. I'll actually play this in a speed-up motion because that way you will see the passion from him. Let's take a listen first.
In second place was Scottsdale, Arizona. If you live in Scottsdale, you are very likely to keep your resolution, especially if your resolution is to wear more turquoise. I didn't make a resolution this year. I'm so perfect I couldn't think of anything, but it's same with a lot of us here at the show. So to come up with ideas, we tried something fun, an experiment. We asked everybody on staff to text their parents the same thing, to ask for suggestions on what they could work on this year.
Before I show you from the beginning of this particular video of Jimmy Kimmel's show, late night show, I just want to highlight a few points that Jimmy Kimmel, he said himself. So this is what he said, quote, "This is one of those nights where it's hard to do a show like this. It's hard to find things to laugh at, and this is one of those nights. You know, terrible things happen every day. Sad things happen, tragedies, cruelty, injustice, etc. And in most situations, it's just a bad part of life. But what do you do when something terrible happens and a big group of people, including those who are running our country, tells you it did not? They tell you you are not seeing what you clearly see. Are you supposed to just accept it and move on? Go about your day? What do we do? I mean, you all know what happened in Minneapolis yesterday, and if you have not seen the video of what happened, you should watch the video, because as horrible as it is to see a woman shot by a person who sworn to protect us, it's important for us to know what happened and what is happening, because we don't. It's definitely going to happen again." And he said, quote, "You know, there used to be a baseline of truth that does not seem to exist anymore. And there used to be a baseline of decency, like when, let's say, a beloved director and his wife were murdered, allegedly by their own son. A leader would either say something nice or say nothing at all. And those days are gone. Maybe not forever, hopefully," end quote. Now, I want you to take a listen at this.
Are gone. Maybe not forever, hopefully not forever, but for now they're gone. We now have the full force of the White House and the commentators who have decided that their job is to support anything and everything their leader says and does, trying to convince us that a mom who just dropped her 6-year-old off at school was part of a left-wing terror effort.
The deadly incident that took place in Minnesota yesterday occurred as a result of a larger, sinister, left-wing movement.
These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism.
This was an act of domestic terrorism. These were, it appears to be, paid agitators.
This is a woman who was in severe crisis. She lived a very sad and very chaotic life.
It is clear that she tried to use her vehicle as a weapon, mow over an ICE agent.
A huge SUV with a lunatic woman who guns the gas pedal.
When you point a car at somebody, it's no different than pointing a gun, and when you step on the gas, it's the same as pulling the trigger.
The officer, I think justifiably, shooting her in the face.
It's time for Americans to say enough, and if you get in the way of the government repelling a foreign invasion, you're going to end up just like that lady did yesterday.
A foreign invasion. These foreigners who invade our country, they barge into our homes, they start feeding our children, mowing our lawns, and every time we pay them, they come back and they do it again. And of course, everyone you saw took their cues from the president, who falsely posted on social media that Renee Good, the woman who was killed, said she ran over the ICE officer, which is clearly not true. I mean, look at I don't think anyone with eyes other than him would make that claim. Our Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, said it was an act of domestic terrorism, which is just flat out.
Before we talk about Kristi Noem, just want to make a point here. Why would a citizen, just an American person, take the chance of getting shot at? Why would she do that? Unless, obviously, if she was trying to flee, which was the case, she would not do that. She would not run away. She would not use her vehicle as a weapon to attack armed officers. It doesn't make any logical sense to me. Does it to you?
This woman, this unarmed mom, a devout Christian, by the way, who had no criminal record, driving a Honda Pilot, trying to get away from armed men in masks in the snow. Masked men were screaming at her. We're to believe this woman was a terrorist, committing a terrorist act. And the fact that ICE shot through her windshield 3 times, that was her fault? The ICE officer was, as Kristi Noem put it, following his training. Which, how stupid do you think we are? That's not just an insult to Renee Good, that's an insult to every law enforcement officer everywhere. They're not trained to do that. Again, I encourage you to watch the video for yourself. And by the way, I know it isn't easy to work in law enforcement. I get that people make mistakes in the heat of a situation, but don't try to tell me that went by the book. Apologize, investigate, let justice be served. I find it hard to believe that even people who love Donald Trump would go along with this, but I guess they do. So anyway, after the terrible mess they made, somebody had to go out to try to justify this, and Trump wasn't going to do it. So he tapped that old sofa pumper, J.D. Vance, to go out there and do his best to defend the indefensible.
And I say attack very, very intentionally, because this was an attack on federal law enforcement. This was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people.
No, come on. This was not an attack on the American people. This was an attack on one American person.
You just suggested that this woman who was killed, Renee Good, is part of a broader left-wing network.
Who do you think is behind this broader left-wing network?
Well, it's one of the things we're going to have to figure out. But here's the way that I put it. When somebody throws a brick at an ICE agent or somebody tries to run over an ICE agent, who paid for the brick?
Great analogy. That guy is...
Okay. Who paid for the brick? Like what? Who threw the brick? Like this is the vice president of the United States and this is how he's talking? Wow.
Once again, Minneapolis is unfortunately ground zero for another needless death of a citizen at the hands of law enforcement. This time, of course, it involved a federal actor versus a local actor. From the video that's available, I see a disproportionate use of force by the officer. I see an obvious overreaction to whatever was presented to him at the time, and I see already some framing from the federal authorities that doesn't match up with the...
I think the federal government, what they should do instead of trying to change the narrative or giving their own perspective or enforcing it on others, they should really be talking about how they can fix the situation so that it doesn't happen again. But obviously that's not happening.